just chilling here a few days, working with each other, I guess. Yeah, what you been thinking about here today, working and stuff? I don't know how to naturally start this, dude. Quit trolling me.
Dude.
What you got?
Yeah, so we're here in Evergreen, like you said. My main goal is to just focus here.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's why we're both here, right? Just
Yeah.
focus on the businesses.
Both of our day ones were a failure work-wise. We were both working on editing projects, which was not the goal. But,
Correct.
hey, what have you been thinking about here today, like main goals for, what you're trying to do back home?
Ooh, just general business?
Yeah.
Right now I'm kind of going through like a business transition. So really just dialing that in, getting some new offers built, and really just kind of adjusting the SOPs and adjusting the team to really be optimized for that new transition. So what about yourself?
Today, really been trying to focus in on like content calendars back. Content's been super important for me personally as well as my business, and of course, I've denied it all this beginning of this year. So I've just really been like, I have a due date set for all my content calendars for all the brands, and I'm like, I want them done by this day. So I've been looking at that, but it's been good getting podcasts done. I'm excited to get these going again because the podcasts have been really good, even though when you're recording them, you're like, what are these actually doing sometimes? But when you look back, there's a lot of things that get done. I know a little bit about your business, obviously, back in Ohio, but what are you primarily focused on, and kind of what are you gearing toward for the future as well?
Yeah, so my agency in the past, kind of starting from the beginning, we were kind of just a general video production agency. We did everything from, weddings to real estate to promotional videos, all kinds of different things, really whatever we could get our hands on. About 2 years ago, I transitioned into just the marketing space, so I kind of cut out all of the weddings, all of the real estate, and then at the beginning of 2024, we became basically just a blue-collar marketing agency. So primarily our main bread and butter is working with home service businesses, excavating businesses, trucking companies, things like that. In the near future, we're actually niching down a little farther. So our goal is to really focus in on the excavation space. Reason being is because we've seen some really good results in that space, and it's really just a space that I'm passionate about. I had some operators in my family. I love heavy equipment, so it's kind of just a no-brainer just to transition into that space. So,
What got you started way back, just even into thinking about business in your own business and thinking about niching down? Where was the first spot of all right, I kind of got some business going and some people that are wanting my help with things, way in the beginning?
Yeah, so I mean, video was all just kind of a hobby for me initially. And then one day someone asked if they could pay me to make them a video, and I really was like, I didn't know you could make money doing this, So that's kind of how it started. And then as I started filming these paid projects, I realized what I didn't like doing and what I did like doing. And that kind of just naturally pushed me into these different niches and into these different directions, I should say.
Yeah. You did YouTube videos before ever getting any sort of paid project stuff, right?
I did, yeah. So like I said, it was just a hobby. So made some YouTube videos of dirt bikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Had a video that hit 30,000 views. I thought I was ultra viral at that time. But yeah, that's really how it all started.
Do you remember your first instance of why you ever ran into YouTube? Or is that too far back?
I think that's too far back, but I will say there was a point in my life, probably when I was around 12, 13, I got an iPad and I had YouTube on it, and that's when I really started watching YouTube for entertainment. I was transitioning out of the younger kid things into YouTube. So that's when I remember first watching it. Consistently, I should say.
Was YouTube ever automatically included on iPads when you got them, or did you go and download that? Or I don't even know.
No, I think in the original iPads they were, I don't know if any of you listeners remember this, but it used to be this old icon where it was a TV.
Yeah.
And it was brown.
Right.
And I mean, at the time I didn't know how to download things, so
Yep.
I'm sure it was on there.
I would think so, yeah.
But yeah,
It's just crazy how we've gotten to the point where we're thinking about niches and stuff like that. So you've kind of worked your way down from starting video and then kind of seeing video projects you didn't want to do. How did you decide, hey, I want to do marketing? Because you kind of have to remove yourself from video a little more to get that rolling and having some more help out. What made you get into that realm?
Yeah, so when I first started making these videos, I really started to fall in love with like the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
I made my first website and I filed as an LLC, and I really thought like building a business was cool because it was like I was building something. And from that point on, I think I just have always kind of been stuck into this like business owner, entrepreneur mindset. And there was a point probably 2 to 3 years within my business where I was like, I think I'm more of a business owner than a creative, and I think I like being a business owner more than being a creative. So I think that kind of pushed me into wanting to, I guess, build something that was bigger than just a video, a freelance videographer. And I think that really is what drove me into how can I scale, how can I build a team, how can I make a lot of money, obviously.
Right.
But, I realized with just video, it takes so much manpower to actually fulfill and to actually do that. So that's when we kind of started tinkering into, the paid ads and the SEO and social media. And it's really cool because now we can actually provide results and metrics and show our clients, hey, here's a report. Here's how many phone calls you received this month from this ad that we created, etc.
Mm-hmm. Do you think, maybe not when you were doing like YouTube stuff when you were younger, but like when you first had the camera, it was more about, hey, I have a tool that's useful to people rather than it being, hey, I enjoy making videos, or, talking about what's the creative versus business owner mindset, even when you first started?
Yeah. When I first started, like I said, I was really doing a lot of weddings. Like I've done over 55 weddings. So
Crazy.
A lot of weddings, and that finished product, like brides, they want that finished product, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where business owners, it's like they're very mindful of, budget, and they want something that's going to help their business, but they're not sure if it's going to help their business. So they're kind of like, eh. So at the time, video was like, I almost thought of it as like a luxury.
Yeah.
If you were a business owner, you needed a video because it was a luxury. However, I realized that video can be a really awesome tool that can actually help promote growth and help drive results if done properly.
Yeah. It's becoming more of a necessity rather than a luxury, which it's been interesting. Like, it's easier to sell when they're just like, we want it because we want it. But now it's like, well, you can kind of access video everywhere now in many different formats. So how is making our videos going to be more usable than the average stuff? Yeah. But we're here in Colorado with a multitude of other people that do similar stuff, and I know you've taken more of like I don't know what your first one was, but like paid like helpful groups, stuff like that. What has your relationship been with those? Like, what was your first one you started, and why'd you go into those type stuff?
Yeah, like coaching programs?
Yeah, coaching programs.
Yeah.
I've never dived into. I just found you guys off a whim. But
so coaching programs are one of those things where it's very interesting because everyone online right now is a guru, right?
Yeah.
Everyone can teach you how to make $10,000 a month in 30 seconds by following this exact formula. Seriously. So you see that everywhere. So it's very selective. You see 40 different ads, and you have to pick which one works for me. I don't know if I'm allowed to name any names, but the first one that I joined was one that was kind of just general agencies, right? I mean, if you had a business that could be termed agency, it didn't have to be marketing agency. It could be insurance agency, like anything, any business really.
Mm-hmm.
And that one taught me a lot about SOPs, scaling, building offers, providing results instead of just something like a luxury. Mm-hmm. And that one taught me a lot of good advice. However, it didn't teach me how to land clients because it wasn't industry specific.
Yep.
joined a couple others. The one that I'm in now has been very helpful with like some lead gen strategies. And so far I feel like I've learned more about how to actually get customers compared to the last one. I have a really good experience with all of the ones that I've joined. The biggest thing is like not all of them can teach everything, and that's what I've learned.
Like I said, I've never joined any, so like what's the format look like actually internally once you get in, minus just the beginning ad of what you see, what might be in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah, all of the ones that I've joined have all been pretty similar. There's like a video course, so you can run through all of these videos in your free time, take notes, kind of digest that information at your own pace. And then there's like the one-on-one calls, and then there's like the group calls that happen every day that you can join. And then typically there's some kind of community group where you can interact with a community, whether this is on Facebook, Slack, things like that. Usually there's a way to ask other members questions who have been in the same spot.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you meet most of these guys? Was it all from one group?
Yeah.
You don't have to say which one or anything, but like how'd you meet up? Like, how'd you come across each other and like meet up and stuff like that?
Yeah, so obviously we're here in Colorado staying with our buddy Cade.
Yeah.
I actually met Cade initially through a group that we had, joined, sorry.
Yeah, you're good.
And yeah, I think that was the first time we met, interacted with each other. We hopped on a call, but for the longest time we were also part of another group called Full-Time Filmmaker that Cade, you were a part of Full-Time Filmmaker, right?
That's a huge one.
Yeah. Yeah, Cade had posted a bunch of screen grabs of some projects, and I thought it was super cool. Hopped on a Zoom call with him.
Mm-hmm. He loves his screen grabs.
Yeah, Cade does love his screen grabs.
But, yeah. What would you think, like, people you interact with on a day-to-day, primarily with what you do around the country, has it been all mostly from those groups, or have you gotten some, like, people from social media too?
As far as other industry professionals or clients?
No, like people your age that you're kind of walking life with a little bit when it comes to business.
Honestly, everyone that I've met has been through general networking, whether that was digital or in person.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know each other through Cade.
Right.
The other folks that are arriving tomorrow, I know them through Cade. So that one connection right there obviously led to a bunch of awesome other connections, lots of other cool friendships, and, other people that are doing the same thing and can push each other. On the flip side, there's some people from back home that I've met in person that have done the same thing, have introduced me to other people, other young professionals who are doing the same thing. And, I think that's the power of network is one person can multiply. Yeah. And it takes time though. Like what's your relationship been overly with the word networking? Like how important has it been for you, and how much effort have you put toward that? You know what I mean? That vibe of connecting. So my very first mentor taught me that my network is my net worth. And at the time I was like, I didn't understand what that meant. Yeah. He's actually a commercial real estate investor and connected me to a tremendous amount of other commercial real estate investors. Now, from the outside, that's like, what does Jaden and commercial real estate have to do with each other? Well, a lot of those investors ended up becoming clients. I joined a commercial real estate mastermind to learn about investing in commercial real estate. And all of these people really have just been really awesome people that I've built awesome relationships with. So, I think networking is probably the most valuable and important area of life, of business, that you could possibly invest in, really. Yeah. Any group, you're going to find people that are applying themselves in life more than the average person you see out walking around. And I think it's really cool is, obviously me and you both started a business with the dreams of doing big things and cool things and helping people out. And we think that that's the totem pole, like we need to build this. Yeah. But little do we know, especially when you're interacting with real estate investors or whatever, your business as well as my business is the bottom of a larger umbrella that we will be building all of our lives. And I think it's really eye-opening when you're seeing people doing all that stuff. For sure. Yeah. For sure.
but that's been the most eye-opening thing in my way. Have you messed with anything besides your agency, or are you pretty focused on that still?
Yeah, so a couple other businesses that I kind of have my hands in. Slowly, obviously, I'm super busy with the agency. That's my main thing that I'm trying to grow. Kind of in my free time, I'm building this financial course for young people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for us, I know for myself, I didn't learn about money in high school.
Mm-mm.
Just wasn't taught.
Mm-mm.
Didn't learn about credit cards, investing. Really, like I remember being in business for like 2 years, and I had to write my first check. I didn't know how to write a check.
Yeah.
You know, like I made 6 figures in high school, and I didn't know how to write a check. You know what I mean? So like that stuff isn't taught. So I'm building a course basically that teaches young people just the basics of life, the basics of financials of life. You know, when you're 16, how do you go open a bank account? Like there's this big bad word, credit and credit cards. However, yes, they can be very dangerous, but if done properly, can be very beneficial, you know, and are oftentimes needed to start that credit history. And buying a home now is going to be a lot harder. So these young people need to know. So I'm working on that, as well as another construction-related company that I'm kind of in the process of developing right now. Not really going to talk a whole lot about
that.
that.
I maybe heard about that 3 months ago, but kind of forgot about that. But yeah, keep that under the wraps. I know you're out of it now, but a lot of people our age don't have a space to work.
Yeah.
How was having office space for you, even maybe when you really actually didn't need one? You know, like what we do for our business, all we need is computers and a place to store our gear.
Yeah, for sure. From a productivity standpoint, tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
You leave the house, you go to work, and you're there to work. When you're done working, you can come home. So it's just a mindset thing. Working from home really doesn't work for me. Now I'm working from home.
Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, we're back. But I'm definitely gonna in the future plan on building myself a shop or something and having an office space up there.
After having one, how much would you consider it an essential part of, like, you know, because you got to dish out $1,000+ to have any sort of space out in the world?
Yeah.
How essential is it now?
For myself, I would say it was very essential in the beginning because productivity levels, focus levels, motivation was just through the roof. You know, you have this office space. I had 3,000 square foot. I had a warehouse. I had some office space.
It was sick.
I was fired up,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, and then you also have that expense. So you're like, I have to make it happen.
Right.
Like, I have to at least make an additional X amount to cover this expense.
Yeah.
Now that I've kind of transitioned my business and now like we're doing a lot less video work, I would say it's a lot less essential.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also say if you could go to like a co-working space or you find an inexpensive office and you have a really good opportunity, do it because there's something just mentally that it does that really just boosts you.
Those are available everywhere, and you get in there for like $300 a month if you pick your plan right. But all good stuff. Yeah, going back, man, just future goals for yourself. What are you thinking about pushing toward? We talked about it a little bit, but
yeah. There's a couple different goals in a couple different areas. Obviously, there's some monetary goals, there's some life goals, some fitness goals. For the most part, all of my goals, all of my monetary goals have, I guess, remained the same. However, I'm really working on increasing profitability and just transitioning things. That way, my whole life isn't consumed in this business and I'm not working 12-hour days. So my goal is to basically increase profitability so I can work less.
Yep.
That leads into my life goal of just spending more time with family and just having more free time where I can do and live the way I want. And obviously just some general fitness goals. So, yeah.
Yeah. See where we're at with time. Is there a time on here? Oh, we're doing plenty good. Oh, nice.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know you're hammering me with questions. Like
yeah.
It's your podcast, right? You're interviewing me.
Well, a little bit of both. Doesn't matter. Yeah, whatever works.
Like I want to like ask about yourself, but like I don't know if it's appropriate.
No, go ahead, bro. These are pretty open. I always start very conversationally, and it's usually I like doing with stuff that I don't know much about, because then they're firing away too, and we all leave with something learned in a day.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
You're like laughing. You're like smiling at me.
yeah,
And I'm like trying to hold it together because I think you're laughing at me.
no,
You're just happy.
no, yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of my general goals. But what about yourself? Obviously, your viewers, these are your viewers. They know about what you do. But I mean, what goals do you have?
Goals do I have? I'm pretty shallow with goals right now, and I'm honestly not a great goal setter. I just sat down and had coffee with a local business owner that's been dishing out some awesome advice for me and stuff like that, and he's always talking about setting creative or crazy ambitious goals, and 200% of what your actual goal would be. That's what he's setting it for. So I'm trying to get better at that, but really I've just been working on my business stuff, and then making sure I'm not going crazy as well. So a little mix of helping people out, some monetary stuff, and serving so many people is always top of mind, because that's what psychs me up and gets me excited. But as far as staying the sane, physical type stuff, so like working out and all that, which I've been really bad at, so I need to realign those goals. But all that, man, I don't know, just the things I used to do to make business work don't work anymore with the size of stuff we're doing. So it's been primarily like, I want to be super involved, but learn how to be involved in other ways. So like editing really small things that are very repetitive and repeatable. Like maybe I don't need to be editing anymore. And just because I'm not doing that doesn't mean I'm not contributing to my business. It means that I'm able to contribute more to my business if I shift that. So that's still a very new mindset to me. But working on getting better with that, and adding a few more people getting involved in all that, and treating that as much of a business as possible. So it's been kind of fun.
Good.
Having a little editor help.
Yeah.
Having a little bit of
That's
or just kind of taking the financials seriously. Like, no, I don't have enough money to have someone looking after me at all times, but having a lady that I'm able to go to for that, and kind of have a finance team, and treating it as serious as possible.
Yes.
A thing I'm huge on is, as entrepreneurs, we trust that our ideas bring enough value to the world that we can live off with them. And it's easy starting out to just be like, my ideas aren't valid, which is the best way to shoot yourself down.
Yeah.
So just treating it seriously and continuing to go even this many years forward, it's easy to be like, oh, we're so small, this isn't valid, but just continuing to treat it seriously. Is all stuff I'm working on. But as you can see, no great goals. I'm working on that. Very weak in that area.
And I think that's fine, because oftentimes people set goals. I'm a big fan of wildly ambitious goals.
Yeah.
That's my mentor said the same thing: set your goal and double it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think huge goals are important. However, I think it's almost worse to have a goal that you're not clear on.
Yeah.
Or just have a goal that like you're not really passionate about, and you just have a goal just to have a goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think you really need to think back to your why, and think back to really what your motive is behind the goal.
And I get those two confused. I get wildly ambitious and unintentional mixed up a little bit. So when I make a wildly ambitious, let's say, physical goal, I want to weigh this much or whatever, is that intentional then? If I'm saying a wildly ambitious goal, I sometimes get confused there.
Yeah.
But what I think the important part of there is, you can't be a loose goal setter, because then you're going to lose trust with yourself. I think that's really going after. What's your workflow with goal setting? Is it all take place at the beginning of the year? Are you adjusting them quite a bit?
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of like New Year's resolutions or anything like that. Obviously, like financially, like it's easier just to have like that annual, that calendar year goal.
Yes.
As far as like other goals, I don't know. I kind of just try to set them and break them up. So I'll take my main wildly ambitious goal, and I'll work backwards, and I'll basically like, okay, timeline wise, what is a realistic timeline that I can make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. 5 years. Okay, so what do I need to do each year?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. What do I need to do each quarter?
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to do each month?
Wow.
Okay, what do I need to do every single day to hit that?
Yeah.
Right? Because it's so easy to like set a 5-year goal and then wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, I got 5 years to hit that goal.
Yeah. So your goal is an output goal, but to not leave it open-ended, you have inputs below it kind of thing. Do you know the input-output thing? I think Kate taught me that or whatever. But input meaning, or let's do output first. Output first is I want to weigh 160 pounds. Well, that's fun to say, but an input goal is I need to eat this many calories a day.
Yeah.
So you kind of output it a little bit from a large perspective, but then really break down how you do it.
Yes.
Is
correct.
that kind of, yeah?
Yeah, because I feel like if you don't have clarity within your goal, you'll never be able to hit it.
Yeah.
So I really think that you need to have like action steps.
Right.
And, you know, obviously those action steps are going to change as you move along in this process. But you need to make sure that every single day, if you want to hit this goal in 5 years, every single day you need to be doing this, 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 and this. Because if not, you're going to be 3 years down the road and you're going to be like, oh, crap.
Right.
I only have 2 years to hit a 5-year goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what have I been doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to be like, oh, that's unrealistic. Let me push it back another 5 years. You'll never hit it.
Yeah. Where are you writing these down? Is it like you got like a special notepad you throw under your bed or something? Or is it like your Notion? Or where are you setting all these? Or is it all mental?
A lot of it is mental.
Yeah.
I have a very, like, ADHD type brain.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, like, I can, like, hyper-focus on certain things and then obviously lose clarity on a lot of different things. But I always write it down basically in some kind of, like, something like Notion. Mm-hmm. So I have, like, a goal board, and then that's where I have, like, action steps and a to-do list. And I even have now, like, a progress tracker. So I'm trying to think of one of the goals that I have listed in Notion. Let's just say that monetary goal for easy math. Let's just say, you know, I want to make $1 million. Well, okay, now I have a tracker. So I can basically every month at the end of each month go in and put, okay, I made 30 grand this month.
Yeah.
So we are, I don't even know, that would be like 5% there.
Right.
Something like that. So basically, like, having visuals like that also help me, and a tool like Notion allows me to do that. But for the most part, I don't have like a set place. Yeah.
One thing unique to you in regards to the vision and goal setting realm that I saw from you was you generate a story of your life through ChatGPT as what you would want to see from your life. How much do you reference that?
I would say life changes. However, I do have this vision of my life. And on our hike yesterday, like, I kept looking out into these meadows that were in these mountain valleys. And
I was thinking about your vision of your life while looking at that.
Yeah, because it's like in my head, like, that's the picture that I have.
Yeah.
I have this goal of, like, me and my family living in somewhere like that with a runway.
Yeah.
To fly small planes out of. And like, when I have this picture, it's in somewhere like there. Like, it's not in Ohio. It's not on the top of a mountain. Like, it's there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, for those listening, basically I told ChatGPT, like, everything that I want out of my life. So I wanted this many kids. I wanted to do this with my wife. I wanted to live in this area. I wanted to drive this car and have this airplane and this, and this. And I had ChatGPT basically put it into a story. And what that does is it really allows you to visualize, like, what your life could look like. Yeah. So it starts off with, like, a brisk summer morning, and it really just, like, goes into deep detail about what your life could look like.
Probably a little over dramatic on the first run through, so you might have to edit it. Be a little less dramatic.
Yeah. Very, very dramatic, but very detailed. So you have clarity.
Yeah.
And yeah, clarity is, I think, one of the most important things with goal setting.
Yeah. And I think it's cool because you can go back and adjust it really easy. Like, one example I could see is someone just starting doing that from the beginning. It might be very materialistic. And then you read through your story and it's like, wait, do I need that aspect? Do I need to drive this car? So I think it's fun that you can go after a year and you're like, wait, I can change this story. Yes. I have every power in my ability to switch trajectories if I need to.
Yeah, for sure.
Super cool. But one random thing, how'd you get into, like, planes? Like, that was just kind of that's a random caveat
Yeah.
that you've pursued, and you're really far into it now.
Yeah. So I had a friend whose family flew a lot. Everyone in their family flew pretty much. So I was kind of just naturally like not really around it, but like
Right.
it was in talks and it seemed cool. And I've always been kind of like a motorhead. I've loved cars and dirt bikes and
Right.
boats and things with engines. But aviation and airplanes was kind of like not really ever an interest until it kind of it started getting talked about. Started asking someone basically like what it was like getting your pilot's license, how much does it cost, how much does it take, like what can you do, and then you go into this rabbit hole and you're like, okay, you start watching YouTube videos and then you realize you can fly to lunch on a random Thursday at 2 p.m. And like, you know, it's funny, I can't rent a rental car, but I can rent an airplane. But
what is the age difference on that? You can rent an airplane at this age with this requirement versus car. Do you know?
Yeah, so like you can solo an airplane at 16. So like you can go to the airport. Like there's plenty of people who have got there who have soloed an airplane before they've like soloed a car. Like it's pretty crazy. But kind of got into aviation like that, and then ever since it's just been one of those passions that I've just been hooked on. Like once you do it once and once you fly, like you catch the bug and you're hooked.
It's a whole lifestyle. When we were in Destin, you had your camera in the sky the whole time, videoing planes and saying, "Oh, I know that model.
Yeah,
oh, it's an F-16." Or
yeah,
no,
yeah. Like you get hyper obsessed with it.
You know all like the commercial jets too. Most of them.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
I know.
What did you see when you were in Norfolk? Yeah. What did you see? It was you sent a picture in the group chat. It was like the biggest commercial plane or something like that. Do you remember?
The A380. Yeah, so I saw two A380s on my layover. That was in it wasn't in Norfolk.
Was it not?
No.
What is Norfolk? That's Virginia, right?
Yeah, that's
Virginia.
Virginia.
You flew out of there. We drove you there, and you flew out of there, I think, from Outer Banks. Was it not?
I don't know what I sent you a picture of. Yeah.
Anyways, you were able to spot that out.
At JFK,
Like
I saw two A380s though.
Gotcha.
Which are like the king of the sky. But
I love it.
Yeah.
But
I know a lot about general aviation, but is there anything like that you are very passionate about? Like kind of a nerd on?
I'd say my closest one has been like cameras a little bit, which I'm sure you have a general knowledge of cameras like I do. But you know, I was huge into the photography space as a hobby while doing it as a business a little bit. So I'd go out and wanted to have a camera on me at all time, and so that allowed me to collect, you know, the 35 millimeter cameras, medium formats, and all that. But nothing like truly extensive. Yeah. I've been pretty good about like choosing a pool of things I like and sticking with them a little bit. But a lot of my outside times, like spending my time on like activities, like recent ones have been obviously your pickleball surge and all that, and getting into golf and really like honing in on those, forgetting about every aspect of the world and just taking those seriously is kind of a really relaxing thing. So I could see that flying through the air would be good. Now you're in kind of a trance because you're like very far away from owning. Renting is somewhat expensive as well. Get it out when you need to.
Buying a general airplane is really not that expensive to buy.
Okay.
Like you can find, I mean, for $30,000 you can buy a small airplane.
Okay.
Like $30,000, that's quite a bit. Yeah, well you can finance them over a longer period of time.
Gotcha.
So it's not like a 5-year thing. It's like a 10, 15 year.
Yep.
So when you think of your payment on that, it's like, oh, it's like $250 bucks a month.
Yeah.
What's expensive is actually flying the plane, fuel, you have your annual expenses, things like that.
Right.
But
my gauge is based on Amalfi Jets, which is definitely anything he's talking about. Yeah.
Shout out Colin.
Everything he's talking about, you're not even getting on a flight for less than 30. Well, you can, but I don't know. It's all crazy stuff.
Yeah, private jets are a whole different world because you have the size or the close size of obviously commercial jets. And then you have turbine engines instead of your normal prop planes, which are way more expensive to operate.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
King of side quests. Hey, I just thought of a random question. It's been something I've been thinking about. But, like, comparing your day in the life as, like, a business owner when you were 18 compared to now, like, what you're thinking about, what you're looking into, and what you're actually spending your time doing.
Yeah. I'm going to start with that last part, what I spend my time doing now, now that I have a team.
Yes.
My time is really spent a lot in the sales, lead gen, strategy, developmental type parts of the business. When I was 18, dude, I was like working 12-hour days just editing. Like, horrible budget.
Yeah.
Small. Oh, sure, I'll edit this, full week project for $125.
Right.
So it was just constant, brutal work. Now it's very different, and I can delegate some stuff that I may not be good at or I may not want to do, and focus on really what matters.
Your sales process is mature toward a lot of people at our size, and one specific aspect would be how important is it to have like a call book link? How important has that been for you, or has it been not that important? It's something I've been considering.
I would say it depends on obviously your offer, what you're selling. I have gotten just a random percentage. I'm making this percentage up, but this is a random guess. I would say about 85% of my customers have been me directly going to them.
Okay.
I would say that I would say 10% of that would be probably something like a form fill through a funnel.
And that's very real. You would think your forms are going to get filled out more. They're just not.
No, they're just not.
Mostly,
unless you have a really solid ad campaign.
Right.
And a really solid funnel.
Yes.
And an awesome landing page.
Yeah.
And you're really good at that. However, the size that we're growing right now, I feel like is a very digestible pace. Like I don't need a ton of form fills.
Yeah.
I can go out, send a couple. I can't tell my secrets, but send a couple messages.
Yeah, you're good.
Get some responses.
Yeah.
And like I can onboard a customer if I need a customer.
Right.
And then that other 5% I would say comes from word of mouth.
Yeah.
Just like our word of mouth is really low. We have a really high retention rate. Not sure why word of mouth is really low, but yeah.
This is really niche, but okay, so you message someone, they say, "Oh, we need this, we're interested." Is it a turnoff when you're like, "Oh, here's my available times, like here's a book link," or do you try to make it more manual than that to keep that authenticity?
I think it depends on the energy that they're coming with.
Okay, so you really decide.
I decide.
Okay.
Yeah. I know some people are very strict with like, no, you need to go through this funnel. The type of people that I work with, and this is what a lot of people don't understand, I work with people who are very busy.
Yeah.
Who are very not technologically inclined.
Right.
And really just like don't want to go through and form fill.
Yeah.
Like when they're available on a calendar. Like their calendar is their head.
Yeah.
They don't have a digital calendar.
Which is crazy.
They're
putting out way more volume than us, and they have no sort of technological
Yeah.
side. It blows my mind.
It's insane. We're working with a plumbing company that's making tens of millions of dollars a year.
Crazy.
And they run their business out of like a notebook.
Yeah.
But I would say it just depends on the person.
Yeah.
If sometimes I'll send them the calendar link, and they love that. Other times it's like, hey, I'm available Tuesday at 9.
Yeah.
Yeah or no?
Yep. No, I get that. I'm trying to decipher that a little more, but just being in front of people is what's nice. It's easy to be unhuman and try to have all these workflows, but at the end of the day, if you're just sitting in front, either in person or a screen, and just having words of conversation, you can get out exactly what you need pretty dang fast if you know what you're looking for. But which I'm sure you have a lot of time doing with the industry you're in. Face-to-face means a lot, I would assume.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
But
very valued.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Colin, Amalfi Jets. Hope you got the McKinley problem figured out.
Oh, no. Not the McKinley drop mid-pod.
Shout out Kate Hansen for allowing us to use his podcast studio, shootsocial.social.
Yeah, I really didn't.
Shootsocial.studio.
I really didn't think he'd set up for us. I almost feel bad that he did, but I was just ready to put my 7.3 up and go wide angle mode, but
Yeah.
he hit us up. But
Yeah.
all good stuff. Thanks for taking time to talk. I mean, I know we're here, but it's good to record and have some documentation of our trip. So
Yeah.
appreciate you. Keep
Absolutely.
working hard. Respect what you do.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it.